Hi, assignment 3, using tabs for alignment. Now this one's notes, so you're going to be applying this, but you don't have anything to hand in. So we're going to be taking a look at the different types of tabs and how they work to align text, making columns, making tables, etc. So first thing we need to do is find our bar that looks like this at the top. When you take a look, you'll notice that it's missing. So if you don't see it, what you want to do is click View, and we want our ruler. So by doing the ruler, we can then see how many inches do we have our tab set on the left-hand side, our margin on the left, margin on the right. We can scroll up, see the margin at the top, and see the margin at the bottom of the page. And you'll notice that mine is marked off in inches. So most of them should be in inches. If not, 2.5 centimeters is an inch, and you can figure them out from there. So if you need half an inch, that'd be 12.5 millimeters or 1.2 centimeters. So when we take a look at these, you'll notice that we have the arrows, the little box, we have the dark section. Now the dark sections are your margins. So generally you can't write in them unless you're going into headers and footers. The white section is what you have to play with in the middle, and you can adjust those. But we're taking a look at tabs. So tabs can be used for different forms of alignment. Now, when we take a look over here in the far left-hand corner, where this little arrow is pointing to, you'll notice that we have an L shape. So that is for our left tab. If I click on it, it changes to a center tab. Upside down T. Click on it again. Well, now we get the right-hand corner, so that's a right tab. Click on it again, we get the center upside down T, but now it's got a decimal on the right. That's our decimal tab. So if you have a column of numbers and you click on that, that will align them on the decimal point. Makes it a lot easier to read. This one is our bar tab. Don't use that one very often. And now we've got our first line indent. So when we take a look at a paragraph, we can adjust how much it's indented, and we can do it for the whole document or just for a paragraph. So I'm going to demonstrate that with this paragraph here. So when I highlight the paragraph, you will notice that I can click and move this. That will then indent the first line of that paragraph, but not the other lines. So this is something you would see sometimes in textbooks where you have a 5-space tab for the first paragraph, making it easier to determine when is the paragraph ending, when is the next paragraph starting. Now we can also do something similar with a hanging indent. Hanging indent is, instead of the first line being retracted, we retract the rest of the lines. So we can figure out where those are going to go. As a teacher, I regularly use this when I have numbered questions, and I want to make sure that the options below or the rest of the paragraph does not interfere with the number on the first line. So again, I'm going to put that back over here where it started, and we can see that's where that goes. Now, our next option over here, first line indent, second line indent, and we're back to our tabs. So when we use our tabs, we can set them at different values. So now that I've clicked here, you can see down here, we have a different setup. So our first line has been indented 2 ticks. Our second line has been indented 1, 2, 3, 4 parts out of the inch. And we also have the L shape there showing us where a tab is located as well. So we can adjust those, move them back and forth, and that will affect where things are lined up. So when we click down here, we can see that we have a left tab at 1 inch. So here's our left tab mark at 1 inch. So if I backspace, it'll take it all the way back to the left. If I press tab, I force that tab, and I've got a decimal tab. You'll notice those decimals nicely lined up for right here. Now, if I do another sentence, it'll take me to the next line. So I'm going to scroll down a little bit so you can see this. When I hit tab the first time, I jump in line with these. So I'm going to type out rent again. And when I press tab again, it jumps me. Now, it's going to center on the decimal. So if I type out rent, you'll see it is putting things there. It only does that decimal part when I actually have a decimal number. So only use that when you're expecting to do a set of decimal numbers. But it's nice for lining up numbers so you can see the cents and dollars easily lined up. So So taking a look at our other examples here. So right tab, you'll notice the right hand side of those words are lined up. Left hand tab is 1/4 of an inch further. So just in a little bit more, gives us that nice alignment of the text. Sometimes you'll even see what's called a dash leader. So in a table of contents, for example, you'd have chapter 1, then dots, so you can easily look across and see that's page 1, chapter 2, page 31. By doing this, we can line up the chapters on the left-hand side, so that's all nicely lined up. We have the dots, making it easy to see what's on the right-hand side, and our page numbers are nicely lined up on the right-hand side. So it really gives things that professional, lined-up look, and not somebody tried to line this up with spacebar, and as a result, things are a little bit jagged. Things are nicely lined up, and when you make adjustments, they stay lined up. So here we can see a decimal tab stop. We have one at 1 inch. We have one at 2 inches. So if I scroll up a little bit, you can see those are lined up exactly 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, 4 inch. And when I click on it, you can see those tab marks are lined up. So easiest way to do these is to type in all the text, highlight it all, and then adjust the tabs where you want, and that will line things up. And that way you can see as you're doing it, if you, especially when you start. Once you have a lot of practice, then you can set things up in your head before you type things out, because you'll have a better idea of how things flow. But I generally find do all the typing first, do all the formatting second. So hopefully tabs make sense for you, and good luck with your next assignment.